want to do, so we've gotten to about 1:15, something like that. So a real quick 2-minute commercial about me. I've been doing internet marketing, web design, 18 years. My last company worked with Universal Records, Def Jam, Oprah Winfrey, a lot of big wigs. I sold that company a few years ago and decided I wanted to get back into what I love, web design and SEO, or digital marketing, anything related to digital marketing. So I started Reno Web Designer. It's a local company, and I work with local and national companies. So that's the end of my commercial. So my goal here is, one, to teach you about Google Analytics and share real world useful information that anyone can implement. How many of you have installed Google Analytics or have had access? 1, 2, 3. Okay, how about that? Who has not used Google Analytics in the past? You're new. Don't be shy. I want to help. Okay, good. So that, really, I heard y'all over here talking analytics earlier.
I understand it. I've never had the opportunity to play on it. So.
That's a trip. Okay, and my intention is not to embarrass anyone. I want to have fun. Life's too short. Get up here and bored and drone on for hours about stuff that you don't understand. So I'm not picking on anybody. I am a little bit of a smart aleck. I'll warn you right now. So okay, good. So Google Analytics is a free tool that helps you determine if your website marketing or offline marketing is working or not. So how many of you have heard of, and I'm going to go off a little bit here. How many of you have heard that statement about marketing? There's a quote where, oh, let's hope I can find it. Here we go. Let's open it up. So a lot of you that have been in business for a while, see, half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is, I don't know which half. John Wanamaker, he opened the first store in the U.S., right? Or yeah, thank you. Department store. Thank you, store. So if you've been in business longer than 10 years, raise your hand. Okay. So back in the day, 10 years ago, back in the day, when you ran marketing campaigns for your business, what kind of things did you implement to get traffic to the store? Somebody?
Direct mail.
Direct mail.
Newspaper ads.
Newspaper ads. Trade shows. I forgot about that one. That's good. Trade shows. Yeah. Come on. Radio. Radio and
TV.
TV. Anything else?
The internet.
No. 10 years ago.
10 years ago?
Yeah, with the internet. I started doing this 18 years ago.
1968.
Oh, that's funny. Right. Maybe she worked for the government. I don't know. But anywho. So when you say, let's pick a billboard. So anybody have an idea of how much it costs to run an ad on 80? I-80? How much a month?
1,200.
Oh, we're going to talk afterwards. Really? 1,200?
That's pretty cheap.
That's dirt cheap. And where is it? Is it behind somebody's building or? Seriously, I'm asking. There's no wrong answers.
It rotates around.
So that's the 2-second, 3-second. That's important that you brought it up. What about a traditional billboard where it's static, it stays no matter what you're doing?
It rotates for a month around. It stays somewhere for a month and then it goes somewhere else.
So it's not one of those 3-second things like you're driving, you do an 80 on 80, you're like, oh, it's gone, you can't remember what it was. Okay, so the average is $15,000 a month, but I'd like to learn so I do a lot of marketing workshops, and our goal is to share whatever's working. I know a lot about SEO and digital marketing and how to make money with the business. I've been doing 18 years, but I don't know everything. So I'd love to talk with you after this. Okay, so the average is, our research is 15 grand. So y'all need to price this. So if you wanted to get a billboard on I-80, it's about $15,000 a month, right? Has anyone ran a billboard ad anywhere? No, well, other than this lady that has the.
How long ago?
It doesn't matter. No.
20 years ago.
Oh, hey, yeah. So, okay, that's good. So, what's wonderful about Google Analytics or digital marketing, obviously, is that you can track what's working and what's not. Back in the day, you would run newspaper ad, you would run radio spots, you would run TV spots, you'd buy a billboard, you would pay your kids to go house to house with coupons, whatever you could do, right? Trademark shows, $8,000 each at least just to get there. It's very expensive. And you're not sure if it really generated a positive return on your investment or not. That's frustrating. With Google Analytics, you know if that TV spot was worth the 40 grand that you spent to run it for 3 months, right? You know if you're paying this person to do pay-per-click marketing in Google, and their budget is $5 grand a month, and you're not making anything from that ad, you need to, switch gears, right? So that's why I love Google Analytics. So something that I do on a regular basis is help recover lost traffic in Google. And the number one tool that I use is Google Analytics. It's free, unless you have an enterprise site that has, was it 50,000 plus? No, 80,000 unique views a day, something like that. Then it's 150,000 a year, but nobody's in that part. You are, let's talk afterwards, but no. Okay, so with Google Analytics, you're missing out if you don't have it installed. So how do you get Google Analytics installed on your website? Out of the handful of you that do not have Google Analytics installed right now, later today, if you want to meet back in here and I'll sit down, if you have your username and password, I'll show you how to install it on your website. No charge. I'm not selling anything, just show you how to do it. But out of those of you that do not have it installed yet, do you use WordPress by chance on your website? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so WordPress is the easiest way for a non-techie person to get Google Analytics installed on your website, right? So I'm going to show you real quick. I have like a test site. As an example, so we have created a website for Mother's Day coming up. We're going to buy a billboard on 80 somewhere, pay 15 grand. It's going to say free cupcakes for mom. And the website address is going to be freecupcakesformom.com. And so when they go to the landing page, we want to be able to track if that ad that we bought and placed all over town, this traditional marketing actually worked. If it actually drove traffic to our website and got people to click this button that says get coupon so they can get their free cupcake for their mom on Mother's Day. So WordPress, again, is the easiest way to get this in, because with WordPress, you can just use a free plugin, right? And it's simple, straightforward. So if you like, I'll show you real quickly how to install that plugin. Does that sound good, or do you want me to move on to something else? Are y'all sleepy now after lunch? Maybe we need to serve coffee. Okay, so when you're logged into WordPress, right, you want to do a search, and this is important. I hope you pick any plugins that you add to WordPress. This is something that you want to pay attention to, whether it's Google Analytics or any other free or paid plugin. When you do a search for the plugin in Google, you want to look and see that it's compatible with your version of WordPress. I have people that they get a new website and they're really happy and it's a WordPress site, and then they call me, something's wrong. I don't know what's wrong with it. They installed a plugin that did not have this little message saying, yes, go ahead, this is safe. The next thing that I look at is how many active installations. If you see a plugin that has like 2 installations or 10, don't do it. Because you're giving access to your website to a stranger, right? They could have coded something into that plugin, and then before you know it, your website isn't about cupcakes anymore. So make sure you check those areas. So we're going to install this one I know and love and trust, Google Analytics Dashboard by Exactmetrics. It's pretty quick. We go activate. Okay, settings. All right, so we're going to authorize the plugin. We're going to get access code. You have to have a Gmail email address. Okay, copy, paste that code right here, save access code. That was like, what, less than a minute? Something like that? Oh, don't look. You want to make sure we hide this. I manage about 76 of these accounts, so I don't want to show anybody else's stuff. You find your domain name in the list, which this one is homebeautylove.com. And of course, it is not in alphabetical order, so that's going to be fun. Okay. But anyway, that's pretty much it, right? And then, so I'm going to turn that back on. So once you, that's it, that's all you do. So it wasn't going to take me too long to scroll through the list of clients that I have to find Home Beauty Love. It wasn't in order, so I don't want to waste time. So once it's installed, you're good to go, right? You have that code added. So obviously before you go and install this plugin, I missed this step, I apologize. You want to go to Google and sign up for your free Google Analytics account. All right, that was the most important part. Somebody should have said something. Yes, David.
You have to have a Gmail account.
Yes.
So you just create it.
Right. You just go to Gmail, right? You go to gmail.com and then create an account. Yeah.
I suspect it would also work if you had G Suite.
Yes,
Your own domain.
that's right. G Suite, exactly. Okay. Any questions on that? Anyone?
You said go to Google and ask them. How do you do that?
So the best thing to do is to go to Google and search, create a Gmail. See, millions of people search this.
No, I mean,
Analytics.
you have the analytics.
Oh.
How do you ask them?
Okay, so once you have your Gmail email address, you got to make sure that you have that. And I have a link to all of this for you on my website, and I'll send it to you here after the workshop. Okay, people. Figures. All right, let's see here. I'm going to have to, the computer is, of course, there we go. All right, so I have the link and I'll send it to you, but you can go to Google and search.
Why don't you just do it now?
Yeah. So
Everybody knows how to do a Gmail account.
Google Analytics account. Just search for it. All right. And make sure, so this here you see Wix came up, that's not the official Google website, so make sure you go to support.google or you just go to google.com/analytics. That'll work as well. All right. So you can search for it. So it's google.com/analytics right here. And again, you can just search for it yourself. Just make sure that you have a Gmail email address. Once you have Google Analytics installed on your website, you want to make sure that you're actually tracking that you did it correctly, right? You want to make sure that you have data being pulled in. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and sign into a demo account. So we're just going to pretend that we've gone through that process of creating our Google Analytics account. And make sure this is looking good. I don't want to load anyone else's stuff here. Okay, so when you log into your Google Analytics account, it'll look something similar to this. The number one things that you want to be mindful of when you sign in is in the top right-hand corner, you want to choose your parameters. You want to choose what dates you need to be analyzing. So if you just signed up for Google Analytics, it takes 24 hours or so. Sometimes it's pretty quick. I've seen some sites where you install the code and with like 15 minutes start getting some kind of information. But most sites, it takes at least 24 hours. When you sign in, you want to at least put in like a month so you can see what you're trending. If you're, you know, if your traffic's dropping or if it's spiking, then you're going to click apply. We'll just do like a month, April 1st to May 7th. That's good.
Does the analytics start from before you apply the code?
I wish. That would be wonderful. So there are new tools online that claim I tried it and it didn't work too well for me, but it might have been my competitor websites that I was tracking didn't have enough traffic to measure. But it's there's a site called Nacho Analytics. Have anyone seen the ad for Nacho? So their marketing sales pitch is you can log into anybody's Google Analytics and see their data, which is, for me, oh, it's like ninja stuff. That's great. I love it. But it didn't work that well. So maybe they'll get better. This is startup life, But if that's what you're wanting to look at, which there's software, there's an app for that. Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. If you have another type of website that's not WordPress, so you have a Shopify, or you have just an HTML5 website, or you use a GoDaddy website builder, they're going to have their own way for you to install that code. So obviously you have to call tech support, and usually they'll walk you through it and set it up pretty quickly. So before I move any further with this, do you have like a question in mind of something that is important to you? Why would you personally want to have Google Analytics installed on your website? So I can pull up in here and show you how to find that data.
How long does it stay there, Google Analytics?
That's okay, and that's changing. So it's pretty much forever, unless you get to a point like, say your startup does really well, and I can't remember if it's 50,000 unique visits a day or a month, then they're going to want to charge you $150,000 a year, or they just cut it off. You just see up to that point, and we can Google that and find that out. But it's free. So say you go all crazy and you're doing really good and you get 50,000 unique visits a day, Google will say, hey, you need to upgrade. You probably should upgrade. We're throttling what you see. So even though you're getting 50,000 visits per day, you're only seeing 80,000 a month until you upgrade. Yeah, go ahead.
When you say unique, does that just mean someone like a new URLs or a new computers logging into it basically?
And that's a good question. So you're talking about like a session, right? So if you were to go to my website, right, you Google Reno web designer, you click on my website, and then within, before the 30-minute mark, say you do a bounce back, right? And then you come back within like an hour, they're going to count you as a new session because it's been past 30 minutes. So it can be a little wonky. So for technical Google Analytics, we can do another class if y'all want, where we can go into how to limit that. So I don't know if that made any sense. So what he's asking is how they count those sessions. So for you as the business owner, you want to see how many people are on your website today or yesterday. If he came to your website and he looked at it for like 5 minutes, phone rang, he got out of there, but he came back, like an hour later, Google counts that as a brand new session. But if he came back before that 30-minute period, they don't. So,
But fundamentally, Google Analytics is not a substitute for a cookie on your website, and they will cache your unique ID for a period of 30 minutes, beyond which the cache is flushed. So a cookie will identify a return user. That's a technique on the website. Google Analytics is not a substitute.
So Google has their own cookie, right? It goes on your website. And you can see all of that data within Google Analytics, all of your users, the unique numbers that they track that user with. So a way to check if Google has updated how they work to where that 30-minute threshold has now become an hour or a full day, you can look in your own cookies. It's UZM, I think it is, right? And it'll show you the date and time, the last time that you were counted as a unique visit to the web. But that's a little technical, crazy stuff. But it's definitely doable. Thank you. Yes.
Sandy had a question. I have multiple websites. Do I need to download the software for each individual website?
So it's a
Is
SAP.
there a way I could?
Yeah. So every website that you have, you can create one account in Google Analytics, right? And put all of these different domain names under that one account. So it's easy for you to manage. Yeah. And yes, you want to have a unique code, or the JavaScript or the tag if you choose to go that route, which Google is in the near future is going to be making it mandatory that everyone uses Google tag, and that's another class. something different. But for right now, yes, every new domain name, even your subdomain names. So if you have, I can't remember the name of it, the website address, and you want to have one that's targeted just to title holders, it would be title.renorealestate.com, right? And you'd want to have that set up as well. And I can show y'all how to do that later. Someone else have a question? Yes.
I think Joan over there asked about users versus unique users, and then the answer I thought was based on session. So there are users and then there's sessions.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think.
What's the question? I didn't hear you.
What is the users versus unique users? Was that your question?
Well, I was just wondering what quantifies unique user, like how they're kind of like pinning, okay, you have 10 unique users, if it was like a time frame thing, or if they're going off like the person's domain name, like how they're actually counting.
Yeah, it's this session cookie that they put, on your computer. And you can view that. You can view your cookies on your own, and you can test it out if you like. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so data are just numbers until you know how to interpret them.
Right.
So are there benchmarks that you should be striving toward? If so, where do you find them?
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to see an increase in something from one month to another, but still, are you just taking baby steps, or are you running with the pack? How do you figure that out?
Right. Good question. So what do you do with this information? There are, I think, thousands of features within Google Analytics. You can go to Google and search top 30 Google Analytics features, and you'll find thousands of articles and YouTube videos that will teach you different aspects of Google Analytics. So if you're looking at, how many users are staying on your website and how many people are signing up for Ticket Tailor probably has a way for you to integrate your Google Analytics code on your landing page. You can also use something called a UTM, where you create a goal in Google Analytics, and it tracks how well a campaign is. So let's work on something specific. Say you ran a Facebook ad, right? And you wanted to know, okay, I spent $50 this week on a Facebook ad. Facebook, you don't need to use the UTM. It won't even work on Facebook. But within Google Analytics, it will show you the goals that you have, and it'll show how many people actually click through. And what you're going to find is Facebook Analytics is going to be a little different than Google Analytics. So any analytics that you use, whether it's Google Analytics or Mixpanel or whatever it happens to be, they're not 100% accurate. Most of them at best are 60 to 80% accurate. My son taking pictures for me. This is Mike. Anyway, so for that purpose, what do you do with that data? There's a number of things, especially with Google pay-per-click or Facebook. Facebook will show that they had sent you 100 clicks. You look at Google Analytics and it says 3 clicks. There's something wrong there. Either it is the URL on the ad there's like a typo in it, right? So you want to troubleshoot. Okay, why does Facebook say we have 100 clicks, but Google says there's only 3, right? So that's the first thing that you do. You would check and make sure that your URL was correct and it's working. The next thing that you would do is make sure that that URL works on a mobile device. How many of you have searched for something in Google on your mobile phone and you go to click on it and the page takes forever to load? What do you do if that happens?
Move on.
You leave, you hit the back button. All right. So, anywho, so let's do this we got here. So, how many of you are familiar with filters, for those of you that have Google Analytics set up? Oh, wonderful. So filters, you're going to love filters. So filters, and this is what I have set up through here. Filters are a way for you to organize all the information that shows up here. So what's important to you. So if you want to just only, when you log into Google Analytics, that home screen, you just want to see how many clicks you got today from Facebook, you can set that up. Or you can set up how many people click from my email campaign. You can also, if you're doing SEO, you might want to monitor your bounce rate. And I have a list of these that I'm going to email everyone. So you can just one-click share and it automatically structures your Google Analytics to show all this data that's important to you. And I'll email that over afterwards. So are there any other questions with how Google Analytics is displayed before I move on? Or is there any other like real world questions maybe that you can share?
Where do you find filters?
Very good. So just like, so there are hundreds of them that you can choose from. You can create your own filter, where if you hover over these sections, right, you can edit them. So with filters, again, I would have you go and search for Google Analytics filters, right? And I've got a number of them for free that I'll send that you can email out if they want them. And I use them for SEO, which is search engine optimization. But you can look for, there's filters directly on Google's website, which I tend to trust that better than someone's random blog. So if you have an e-commerce store, you might want a different filter, right? That shows you, so how many of you are using Shopify? Just 2 people? Okay, so within Shopify, they have their own filters as well. So I'm not going to go into that.
Can you view Shopify in Google Analytics?
Say that again?
Can you view Shopify in Google Analytics?
I don't know.
Is there any way
Can
to
you?
get them?
Do you have it? Can you? Are you able to
I
see that?
usually go to Shopify, I go to Google Analytics. I don't know if you can marry the two together.
I would call them, Shopify is really good tech support. I would ask them. I don't know, I'm not familiar. But I know that they have their own version of their analytics, which is pretty nice. It's really easy, user-friendly, but I don't know if they migrated over like that. But there might be. We can Google search and see if someone has that. I'm sure it is on the App Store. You might have to pay a monthly fee for it with Shopify.
There's a question right there.
Yeah, right there. All right, any other questions on that?
Sandy, is there one place you can go to find out what the benchmarks are? So, for example, if you are running a mail campaign, what should your click-through rate be?
This is a really, and it's another one, you can go to Google and search for that. Okay, so when you set up your Google Analytics, and let's see if I can show you this. I'm trying to show the people's stuff here. I can't do it. When you set up your Google Analytics on googleanalytics.com or google.com/analytics, when you're creating a new account, it will show you at the bottom if you want to select benchmarking. All right, you can't move forward unless you go, it's just a one-page list of questions, which I might have here. And what you want to do with benchmarking, this is it, is if you're in that's something else. If you're in a nonprofit or startup or entrepreneur, there's a benchmark for that. And what that does is, let's choose something else, say a cupcake shop. If you choose in that benchmark that you are a restaurant or a bakery, it will show you in your settings in Google Analytics or in your data that compared to the other cake shops that use Google Analytics, you're doing really good, or you need to improve these areas. And so that comes to the next thing that we're going to talk about.
So does it compare you locally?
No, it compares you, oh, that would be really cool if they did. It compares you to anyone that is a cake shop that has Google Analytics installed, which is really, really helpful. So the resources in the sidebar are something that you're going to really enjoy. If you're wanting to look into benchmarking, pull this up. So on the right-hand side, when you're signed into Google Analytics, something called Insights. And this information is just pertaining to your account. It'll tell you, it's like, hey, for some reason, you're not getting that many hits today. Something's up. So what would I do if I get a message like that saying, you know, either your bounce rate is really high or your traffic has gone down considerably? I would go make sure my website's working on mobile. I would make sure that my host isn't slow today. So if you're on an affordable hosting company like, am I allowed to say any of them? Okay, GoDaddy, HostGator, 1&1, DreamHost, Bluehost. God, I get a migraine just thinking about those companies. They're going to have fluctuations, right? So if you're paying $2 a month for hosting, they've got you on a server with 10,000 other customers. And so, you know, all it takes is one website to be doing a lot of spamming, and then your site's going to be slow. And if that's happening, all of that traffic that you paid to get on Facebook or pay-per-click or SEO, you're just wasting your time. So you really want to stay on top of that. So this insight section is really, really useful. So here's an example of what kind of information. Let me go to this report. Load. Okay, so this report is telling you how your website is performing week over week. And it looks like it's a 0.01% change for users, and the new year users is 0.32%, which with Google, that's really good. That means, you know, probably millions of customers. For a small business, you know, probably not so much. So has anyone used the Insights feature, or do you have any experience or questions with it within Google Analytics? No. Okay, so check it out. When you log on to Google, it's here in the top right-hand side under Insights. And, you know, go through them. It's really important. Like this is page speed. So let's go into something that's really important. Say one of the metrics that you have a high bounce rate, right? So if you go to a website, say you're on your mobile device, and you search for cat groomers, whatever, and you click on the link and it takes forever to load, you're going to hit the back button, right? So that would be a bounce. Or it could be that you visited the home page of the website, you're only on it for even an hour, and you didn't click through to any of the other pages on the site. That's counted as a bounce as well, which is totally unfair, especially if you have, yeah.
Oh, I was gonna add, what about a single page website? What is it?
Exactly, yeah. So, yeah, that's a really good question, and I'm not sure what the answer would be to that. There might be a setting that you can put within Google Analytics where you tell Google, hey, I only have a one-page website, cut me some slack. Anybody have that experience? No? Okay. But you can probably Google it and find it.
You can see how many people are sitting on your page. If you have a lot of information on the page, you can see how much that is less than 10 seconds.
Right.
They're planning, leaving.
So if you have, yeah.
I was just going to ask you, so you're a small business, you're going to get into Google Analytics. What are the top 3 things that you should be setting up so that you're getting some real valuable information that can direct you to do things differently to increase your sales?
Right, exactly. And so one of those things is to keep an eye on your bounce rate, and that's what we're going to look at real quick. Okay. So say you have a bounce rate that is 30%. Is that bad? Yeah. 80%. Is that bad?
Yeah.
It depends on the industry. Some industries, like if you have a weather website, your bounce rate's going to be 95%. Because you go to Google or on your phone, you're like, hello, what's the weather today? You go, you click on it, oh, it's going to be 85 and sunny. Hit the back button. That's all you want, right? So they're going to have a high bounce rate. Now, over time, you can look and see if your bounce rate is going up. I want you to choose at least 2 to 3 months when you do that. And say your bounce rate is going steadily increasing. That means there's something wrong. So what do? There's a free tool called GT Metrics. Who's familiar with this? Anyone?
Eric.
I am, because you told me.
Awesome, Eric. Yeah. Oh, I didn't put the right. So GT Metrics, and there's a number of tools, right? Right. So let's get it through here. There's Pingdom, there's Moz, but these are free. And what they'll do is tell you if you have a problem with your host, if your website's not mobile friendly, if you've uploaded images that were like 50 megs each, of course it's going to take forever for your users to download that page, and that you're just bleeding money at that point, especially if you're running any ongoing SEO campaign or digital marketing campaign. So with this, the load time, this is really good. This is my site. I can test someone else's if you want. So this, you want to load in under 2 seconds. If you see this part here and it says it took 5, 10 seconds, that's a problem. That means your hosting company usually is the problem. Get on the phone and say, hey, what's going on? What can I do to speed up my site? That's the #1 metric that I look for in Google Analytics is the bounce rate. Because if your bounce rate is getting, up there in numbers, there's a problem. It doesn't matter if you're #1 for a very competitive keyword and you're getting lots of traffic. Nobody's checking out what you have to offer. So the first thing to do, of course, is try to figure out why that's happening. Any questions about GT metrics?
Yeah, would you check startupnv.org?
Yes.
I think our load times are too long.
I think it takes a long time to load.
Let's see. So again, when we're talking about the metric bounce rate, if it starts getting up there in numbers and you're not a weather site or a site where people just quickly need to find information and leave, and then you need to figure out what the heck can I do? You can also put your competitor's website in here and see how well they're doing.
Right.
And use that as, you think, what can I improve on my website to load faster? 1 second improvement can help a great deal. Yes.
7.6.
Where does it show?
Oh, shit. Well, you win the award.
Check mine.
I don't have a card. Let's see if I have a card. So yes, Stuart.
Where does it show the bounce rate, Sandy?
Okay, a good question. So within Google Analytics, when you sign in, and say you go to, when you first sign in, they send you to the overview section, right? And it gives you like, okay, this is how many people on your website right now. There's probably more than that, but this is a good number. And it gives you an idea of your top active pages. Let's find your bounce rate. So go over to acquisition and overview. All right. And there's the bounce rate. You can sort it by, So their display ads on Google, and this is so true, has a bounce rate of 76 or 77%. So you only want to run display ads when you're just wanting to get your brand out there to the world. Nobody's really going to stick around and do anything. Does that answer your question? Okay, all right. So so how do you troubleshoot this? What can you do? This tool, this tool will go through a list of different things that you can do to improve that timing. I do this all the time. There are so many sites that are in the same situation, and people just don't know, because when you create a website on your computer, you have like a cookie, everything's cached because you visited that website a lot. So your internet service provider will make a copy of the website. So when you go back, it appears that the website's loading really fast, which Charter's really good. It's just that they have a copy of it and you're viewing a copy. So you don't see how slow it is, right? If you're a new visitor, that's when you see how painfully slow it is. So you can export this list and send it to your web designer or probably web developer, right? And send it to them and say, hey, do something, and then see what they can do for you. But one last thing on this. So why slow? Whenever I see a bad score for this always means something with the host. Always. So, no. And again, this is a free tool. We can do one more site, and then I want to move on because we're almost out of time. What is your website address?
livinginreno.com.
Okay. Let that run. So again, high bounce rate, you want to check and see what's going on. You want to fix those problems. All right, because if people just can't do this website, it's a waste of money. Next thing, while this is loading, is okay. Oh, you're a little bit better. So at least it's loading fast. But there are other areas that you can improve. Your host is really slow. Anyone else want to test their website? You ladies? Yeah. You want to test your site? Or anybody?
No.
Okay. Okay. I don't want to be rude. Yes.
MySolutionsAtWork.com.
Okay. Let's see here. MySolutionsWork.
MySolutionsAtWork.com.
Work.com. Spell it right. Okay. So other than high bounce rate, you want to check on the location, which is next, super important, and the technology, which kind of ties into what we've already talked about. So okay, yeah, so here we go. So at least it loaded in 3 seconds. It could be worse, but there is room for improvement. And again, go to that site and download this, and it'll tell you what you need to do. And just knock out one at a time, and it will get better. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about, yes.
Move on.
Yes, what?
Great, so we go through this, a lot of technical stuff to do, get it. How to connect that to you making more revenue. How do you?
So if you have a website that you paid $5 grand for,
Yep.
right? And you're spending God knows how much money a month to get traffic to that website, if most of the users that go to your website hit the back button, you're losing money.
I get
So
that.
fix these errors so they can actually see your
fixing
website.
those errors helps you be more efficient on your spend. My question is, how do I turn that into saying, great, I got more efficient on my spend, yes. Show me how to connect that to the revenue I'm collecting next month.
So if people are going to your website, you want them to have a good user experience. And part of that good user experience is that it loads quickly, it works good on mobile devices, right? And they can get to the information they need. So obviously, if they can't get to any of that information, you couldn't even sell them anything,
I
right?
would say you have to probably on your own, say from this date that I fix these errors until a certain time period, you evaluate the increase maybe in your sales, the increase
Exactly.
in calls.
And it takes time.
What I
And then
want is-
you're
what I
on the
want
sun,
is the
yes.
increase in leads.
Say that again?
I want to see the increase in leads come from the online advertising, because all that other increase in sales could be because the weather's nicer next week.
Right.
I want
Let's
you
look
to
at it.
Connect the dots and see how that turns into more revenue that I can contribute to my website.
Wonderful. So are you doing pay-per-click campaign? Is that what you said? No, anything.
My website.
Organic.
We're improving,
He's doing
we're
Google
improving,
ads?
we're improving the website, right? Show me how that turns into more people converting into sales, if that's possible.
Sure. I think what I said, it should be pretty clear. If they can't access your website, you're not going to make a sale. If they can access your website because you've corrected all of those errors, then you're going to make more sales. And it could take, what, a couple of days to see that change.
Yeah, I read that in theory, what I want.
Oh, I've been doing this 18 years. Trust me, it works. Yes.
I read that's your experience, so I'm asking for some data that Google can provide me, and Google Analytics can tell me that.
Yeah. Go ahead. Say that again. I didn't hear
Well,
you.
I think you'll start seeing your numbers trending in the opposite direction. I
Right.
think if you've gone in, been shown where your holdups are, right? You fix those.
Uh-huh.
Google Analytics should then reflect those numbers, and the trend should start going in the opposite direction.
Exactly. And there's a little bit of a lag with that, but what she said, that's it right there. That's my answer. You will, you just have to go in and update it, retest it on GT metrics, see if you can at least get it up to a C or a B. You know, it's pretty simple. And you should be able to see within a few days that your bounce rate is going down within a week, probably, unless you have a high traffic website and then it shows it pretty quickly. But if you have, say, less than 1,000 people a month on your website, it takes a little time for Google to catch up. But, you know, that's as best as I can answer that. So let's talk about sources. Where is the traffic coming from, right? You got organic, where you go to Google and you search for whatever the service or product, like search for Reno SEO. Anyway, you search for the service or the product that you want. You click on the link and the website loads. So you can actually see it. You can actually, you know, check the company out, make sure that you like them, you want to work with them. Right here, this shows number 1 is Google Analytics, Google Organic. Then you have Direct, right? And they have it broken down for you. Do you see this? Partners, other referrals, where your traffic is coming from. So if you click Google Organic, right, and this is under source medium, let's go to channels so you can see what I'm talking about here. Again, organic means that someone went to Google, they searched for your services or product, you ranked high on the, you know, Google rankings, and then you clicked on the link, right? So you notice, what does that say? Not provided. So do you want to learn how to get those keywords? Yes? So have you heard of Google Search Console? Anyone? Okay, one person, that's awesome.
I didn't hear the question.
So Google Search Console is another free tool, right, where you can figure out what those hidden keywords are. 15 years ago, Google would tell you, oh, you're number one for these 300 keywords. This is where all highlights, this is where all the traffic is coming from. Now Google hides most of it. So you have to use Google Search Console, and Google Search Console will show you in a roundabout way what those hidden keywords are. And why would you want to know what the keywords are that people use to find your website? Anyone?
So you can use them.
You can put them on your website.
Right. And if you happen to be ranking for a keyword that's trending that you didn't even know about, a new service in photography, you can create a whole new page on just that subject. You're giving your users what they want, right? So, yeah. Oh, thought you had your hand. Okay, so Google Search Console is another free tool that you can use to find the hidden keywords, the not provided. Yes?
Do you know if Google Analytics shows you what page you're on?
I'm sorry? What do you, I don't understand.
Where do you rank? Are you on page 1?
Oh, yeah, well, good
rank.
question. So Google Search Console will kind of give you a roundabout view of that, but what you want to use, like this is a free tool called Ubersuggest, right? Okay, so Neil Patel is the god of SEO, right? And he bought out this company, Ubersuggest, revamped this. This is a free keyword research tool. So you can put in your website or your competitor's website and see what keywords they're ranking for, right? So you can also get an idea of how many people are searching. Give me a keyword to search somebody.
Real estate.
Huh?
Real estate in Reno.
Okay. All right, so again, this is an estimate. So I would add 30%, maybe a little bit more on top of the number. So right now it says average 2,400. There's probably a whole lot more than that.
Is that per month, per week, per year?
Per month.
A month.
People searching.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But for those 3 words, just like that.
Exactly, because I can switch it around, and or I can just add NB on the end, and it might be different. But with this tool, he might have grouped them into the same long and medium tail keywords. So again, this is a free tool that you can use. There's other tools like Ahrefs and SEMrush, they're about $300 a month, and they give you more detailed information. But the goal is to figure out, okay, what industry are you in, and what are my potential customers searching for in Google, and how can I rank my website above the fold of the page, if you will, for those keywords. Yeah.
Is it important to put those keywords on every page of your website?
It depends on the keyword.
Okay.
So you don't want to keyword stuff, but yes, it is. It helps. If you so what she asked, is it important to put your keywords on every page of your website so you rank for the keywords? SEO is more than than just adding keywords on your page. It's about creating useful content that people want to engage with and share with others. Whether it's a beautiful photography portfolio, or if it is anything about real estate or billboards, they have questions. And so instead of just throwing the keywords on the page, I would use a tool like Answer the Public and find out what keywords, what questions they have.
I've seen on other photography websites, the really big ones that I like to admire, they have a lot of keywords at the very bottom of their page, just keywords.
Yeah, it's interesting that they do that. That wouldn't be a smart idea. It just depends on the website. So what would be a good question that your customer would be asking? Like, what is somebody like, let's see, how to increase engagement with social media? What keywords, what questions might they be asking? So you can create content to answer those questions. Does that make sense? So do you have any idea of any questions that I can ask or anyone?
How to improve my diet.
Thank you. So how to improve my diet. So if you're a nutritional coach, or if you were, let's see, it's going to take it a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to look at data. So this will give you an idea of what most people are searching for around your topic, right? So if it's how to improve my diet, you want to create content around those questions and answer that question as best as you can. Obviously, you know, a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to give away everything for free, then they wouldn't contact me. No, they would, especially if you're a life coach or a nutritional coach. You need someone like, you know, checking in with you. But the goal for SEO is to create useful content that your customers need and they can actually access. When you do that on a consistent basis, Google takes your domain name, especially if it's a local, like you're serving a local radius, like around Reno, say, and over time, you become the authority on that subject. So not only will you rank for this keyword phrase, which is probably a medium tail, maybe long tail keyword, but you'll start ranking for hundreds, maybe thousands of other related keywords in this industry if you do a good job. If you create content that is not spam where it lists the keyword over and over and over again, it actually tells you about how to improve your health through nutrition. And it gives useful insights and information, because what happens is your potential customers will share that on social media. The other bloggers will link back to you in a natural way. And when people search for that keyword, they land on your website, they'll stick around for a while because it's useful, helpful content. And that is a signal to Google, hey, this website, we need to see what else they can do a good job for us for, and start ranking other pages on your site.
So would that be something where if like you search, like I guess like improve my diet, would you then maybe look at some of those keywords or some of those key questions and then put that into like a blog post and then maybe identify those, and that's kind of a tool how you could wrap that back in?
There it is, yes. So Answer the Public, again, another free tool for you. And you put in, you know, whatever questions you think that are related, and it'll show you what people are searching for, right? Exactly what they're searching for. Again, that's Answer the Public. You can Google that, yes.
So the comment that was made about the photography website with all the, I don't know if they were hashtags or words at the bottom, will Google actually ding you or penalize you for just throwing a bunch of keywords? Does it have, what is,
yeah,
you have to provide content, right? They will not just, they will actually penalize you and lower you, right, if you're just throwing a bunch of keywords.
Eventually, depends on where you're at. So I've got bail bond companies in Las Vegas. They can't get away with stuff that bail bond companies in Memphis can get away with. In Memphis, you can still do that, and we're fine. Las Vegas, forget about it. It's awful. So what I would tell you to do is, in your industry, whatever your keyword is, I would go to Ubersuggest, and I'd put in your competitor's website, and I'd put in some of those keywords, and I would just go to the website. Are they doing these scammy things? Because what happens is this. Right now in Reno, you might be able to get away with it because we're just growing, right? But in 6 months to a year, you're going to be penalized. So it's kind of a risk. So, you know, without getting into all of the information of what I would do, I would set up another domain name and give it a go and hide your domain name that you don't own it and try and see if it works so you can get that traffic. But if you have a business where you want to be around for a while and really provide value and helpful information, I would stick with the rules. You're just going to have to work harder. So, but that's a good question. Yep. Someone else? Someone had a question? Nope. Yep.
Is there a way to find out how many people ask those different questions around diet?
Yeah, this site right here.
Like how many people want to know about their
the keyword
diet?
Sure, you go to Ubersuggest, and which you might be having traffic issues. So how to improve my diet. Let's see if it works. Yeah, there we go. So that exact keyword phrase, about 40 or 100 people a month, which is fine, right? So if I search for diet, there's probably 100,000 people a month searching for it. You're not going to rank for that. It's going to take you a few years and a lot of work.
So it's how specific it is.
So yeah. So what I would do is go to Answer the Public and find as many of these long tail and medium tail keyword phrases as you can that have low search volume and create content around that search volume. Even if you create one monster post, it's 5,000 words, you'll start ranking for anything related to those keywords. Yeah.
What
So
does that mean?
Oh, sure.
So
What?
SEO difficulty, why does it say difficulty?
Because some keywords are more, if this is 100, like diet would probably be like 80, 90. It tells you that it's very competitive,
Oh, I see.
and you're going to have to hire a professional and have a budget and have patience and do a lot of right things for a couple of years to get, which you can, but it's a lot of work.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I think we're out of time. Let's see if there's, I think that's it. So one last thing that we're going to talk about is fake traffic. If you buy an ad service, marketing service for social media export or pay-per-click, and you're paying them $1,500 a month, $5,000, whatever it is, and you're like, God, the phone's not ringing. Should I go out of business? Log on to Google and search and see if most of your traffic is coming from a third world country, right? So you can pay. Facebook, they do that all the time. They will run an ad, a post for you, target India or another country, Africa, Pakistan, for a penny a click, and you get, oh, I've got 300 clicks. I'm going to be rich. If you hover over those likes on Facebook, if you can't pronounce any of the names, that's what they've done, and it happens a lot.
Is there a way to restrict them from doing that, to make it more?
On your website, yes. You can call your host company and say, unless you're selling to India or another country, but if you're only selling in the US or local, you can call your host company and say, please, in something called my HT access file, please block IP addresses from these countries. And they usually have a running list of the countries that you can block.
So,
one more thing, Amazon Turks. This is a ranking factor. You can go to Amazon Turks and pay someone half a penny to go to Google, search for your business name, and then click on the link. And that, it's bad, it's gray hat, but divorce attorneys, you have to do that because it's so competitive. So those clicks usually come from people in the US. But again, for the most part, if you're paying someone for pay-per-click and most of your traffic or a lot of your traffic is coming from Thailand or something and you're not selling to Thailand, that's a big red flag. Anyway, so I gotta go, but I hope this is helpful.
Very helpful.
Anywho, I'll send y'all an email with the list of all the resources. I know it's a lot. Later today, we can meet back here if you need help installing Google Analytics on your website. There's no charge. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Sandy. And having explored Google Analytics, you can go deep, 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 get sidetracked off to different things. So don't be frustrated at first try. Keep going. So thanks again, Sandy, for coming out today. A couple of announcements, and then we'll have you on your way. So next month, June 12th, we have Liz Hyman coming to talk to us about B2B sales. So make sure to.
She's amazing.
Yeah, Liz is amazing. So business to business sales,
Oh.
B2B. Sorry for using the acronyms. Versus a lot of the stuff we were talking about today with Google Analytics was B2C, business to consumer.
What day is that?
June 12th. Also on that day, we will have Lou Manna with us. He's going to be doing headshots before and after Lunch and Learn. He's going to be right around the corner over here. And so he'll be here from 10:30 to 4. The cost of doing him is $85, which is if you've had a professional. Lou made me look beautiful, which is a tall order. So if you can do it, you need a professional headshot. Come on by. Lou's going to be in the ideation room, which is either right through this door or right around the corner, back over here.
Behind there.
Oh, that's right. But professionally set up, it's very cool. So June 12th.
Did you mean, was it Elizabeth Hyman or Alice Hyman?
Liz.
What's her sister?
Her sister. There's two Hyman sisters. Alice and Liz. So Liz is going to be here talking about B2B sales. She's awesome. Well, Alice is awesome too. Liz is also awesome.
Alice is coming for lunch and later in the year.
So we'll get both of the Hyman sisters before we're done, before we're finished with 2019. So again, thanks everybody for coming out today. Super interesting topic, and thanks for all the questions. Thanks, Sandy. I think she's going to be. We got the room until 1:30, but then we're going to have to clear out of here. So we have about 5-10 minutes if we need to stick around. Thanks everyone for coming.